Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Dan with Two Dudes. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about pay-per-click, and again, this is with Amazon. In a previous video, I covered a little bit about advertising and having needed the buy box to be able to run PPC. These ad campaigns on Amazon. It's extremely important. You should know that before getting into this video. So today I want to cover what it is. I want to cover how to run a good ad campaign on Amazon, or a good set of ad campaigns, and what it takes to actually run it. So in another previous video I talked a little bit about Sellix. It's a platform that we use to drive our ad campaigns, to run our ad campaigns. It's more like a single pane of glass, a one-stop shop. But you can also do this on Amazon if you didn't want to do that. Amazon has a little advertising manager that you can use within Seller Pro and Seller Central, if you have the Pro version of Seller Central. So what is pay-per-click? So pay-per-click is essentially Amazon's ad campaign for sellers. So pay-per-click is only viable if you have the buy box. You need to have the buy box first. Once you have the buy box, let's say you've gotten the buy box for one or all of your products, doesn't matter. As long as you have the buy box, you can run ad campaigns. Why are ad campaigns important? Well, let's say, for instance, you're a buyer, and then you want to go on and you want to buy a pair of shoes. Say some really cool Nikes, right? You get on Amazon, you type in Nike shoes, you're going to be presented with a bunch, like a ton of different people selling Nike shoes. And let's say, for instance, you find these, cross-training shoes from Nike that you really want, you search for it, and you narrow it down, you get right to that, set of listings. So let's say there's 100 people selling that type of shoe or similar type of shoe, varying costs, stuff like that. When you look on Amazon's page for those shoes, you're going to see something that says sponsored. It's called sponsored ad campaigns, headline search ads. Those are people that are paying to be higher in the listing. So you know a lot about like Google searches. A lot about search engine optimization. So if you go and you search for something on Google, most people do never go past the first page. Then some people do, and then once you start getting to the third, fourth, fifth, sixth page, excuse me, it's much harder to get people to come to your page. It's essentially the same way with Amazon. This is essentially search engine optimization. You're paying to get ranked higher. You're paying to get shown first. So much like SEO on Google, with Amazon it's the same way. Most people don't go to the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth page. The further you are down the chain, the less likelihood you have of actually selling something. So if you're in, Nike shoes, that's a heavily saturated market. There's a lot of people selling, Nike shoes. If you want to be shown first, you have to run an ad campaign. You set up an ad campaign within Amazon. Let's say, for instance, you want to list that Nike shoe. You list the Nike shoe or a set of shoes, different variations, and you start running ad campaign. You start running ad campaigns. You're paying for ad traffic. This pay-per-click on Amazon. So what Amazon will do is there's a system for bids for clicks. So it's pay-per-click, of course. So let's say, for instance, you want to bid no more than 50 cents per click. And Amazon makes suggestions, says, depending on this type of product, we analyze this type of product, most sellers are paying, between 30 and 60 cents a click, the average being 50 cents. You can pay more if you want, but just know that if you put that you're willing to pay, you want to pay 75 cents a click, regardless if nobody else is paying 75 cents per click and the best is 60 cents, you're still going to pay 75 cents if somebody clicks on it. So it's good to take Amazon's suggestion. The average for that listing is something that you should take into consideration, so you're not overspending on your ads. So when you set up an ad campaign, let's say, for instance, you have like 100 different types of Nike shoes. You can set up an ad campaign with an ad group, and you can add every one of those shoes into that ad group. And then you can add that to the ad campaign. And everything in that ad group is going to be subject to what you set for limits in the ad campaign. So it's not wise to put every one of your Nike shoes within the listing. It's okay in the beginning because you want to see which ones people are searching for the most. So normally in the beginning we recommend adding everything that you have into there. And give it a week or two, see which ones are selling the most. Like Amazon has some excellent analytics when it comes to ad campaigns. So does Sellix, by the way. See which ones are selling the most, and then you can prune out the ones that people aren't necessarily looking to buy. Then that's your first piece. When you set up your first initial ad campaign, there's another thing to keep in mind is automatic versus manual. In the beginning, we normally recommend doing automatic. Let Amazon collect some statistics and analytics and tell you what people are searching for. That's the best part about this. You're probably going to spend a little bit more money for ad campaigns in the beginning. No guarantee that you're going to spend less later, but the higher you become ranked, the less you're going to actually have to spend on ads, but it takes time. It's not something that's going to happen in the first, 4 to 6 months. It takes time for your season to get listed. Your season to get listed. Whoops. It takes time for your listing to get seasoned and get naturally ranked higher, so the organic traffic sees you first. You're ranked up higher naturally, so at that point, then you can spend less and less on ads. You don't necessarily need to be exposed on the very first line on every single shoe that you're selling. So essentially, the biggest key is get the ad win the buy box, get the ad campaign set up. Throw in all your items that are of similar relevancy, I guess, in the same type of ad group. If it's shoes, throw all the shoes in there. Run it for a week or two. Let Amazon collects reports. You can download those reports off Amazon, and it'll show you what specifically people are searching for. So in the beginning, an automatic targeting if you have running an automatic campaign, you have automatic targeting for everything like keywords. So, after a few weeks, you could download the most commonly searched keywords and see which items are selling the most based off of your automatic campaign. You can then, at that point, do a review. You can prune out the shoes or whatever items you're selling that aren't being shown at all. Target it down. Maybe you take that list from 100 down to like 20. And then you can do a keyword review. Look to see what people are searching for the most. So the automatic targeting does a broad search term. It's basically looking for everything and anything, and it's not really the most convenient. It's not the best way to spend your ad money. And ad money is extremely important. You don't want to spend too much on ads because it's a waste of money. You got to, that comes directly out of your operational expenditures, and you don't want to be eating too much into your profits. You want to spend as little as possible. You got to find that happy medium. So, excuse me. Essentially, you want to limit down the amount of products that you have within your ad campaign, your ad group. And then you also want to limit the amount of keywords that what people are searching for, what becomes the most relevant to rank you naturally higher. Once you get a set of keywords, it could be 50 to 100 that Amazon collected over those 2 weeks. You can trim down the ones that made you the most money. And then what you do, the biggest key is you go from a broad search. So there's broad, there's phrase, and there's exact. Exact is great if you know for a fact that, like Nike, for a fact somebody's searching for Nike. And shoes, somebody's searching for shoes. And Nike shoes. Those you should definitely put as exact. But you can also do phrase searches. So, somebody's looking for Nike shoe men's or Nike shoe women's, stuff like that. You can keep it phrase. It's not quite as targeted, but it's still more targeted than broad. The more you can get closer to the exact term that people are searching for, the better chance you have of actually showing up, within that first page or higher up on the first page. So, that advertising can be a pain. It's not the easiest. It takes a while to get into. It takes a while to kind of prune down the amount of products you have in there and what keywords people are looking for. So, don't be surprised if you end up spending, $50 to $100 a day in advertising right away. And over, the next coming months, depending on, what you're driving ads for, you can trim that down to half, maybe even less, because you're targeting exact key terms, phrase key terms that people are looking for, so you're not necessarily spending as much. And if you are, it's more relevant, and you're probably going to get more sales out of it. So that's at least what we've seen. It just takes a while. If you add something new and you get the buy box right away, feel free to do the same thing. You just then, it takes a few weeks to let the listing get seasoned, get an idea of what people are searching for, and then you can move away from automatic ad campaigns to more targeted, like manual campaigns. And then, of course, pruning out your keywords that don't mean anything. You'll see a lot of that, believe me, when you get into the reports. There's a lot of stuff it's all white noise. You don't really need it in there, and essentially sometimes you're actually spending money on key terms that make literally no sense. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, in review, get the buy box. You need that before you can run PPC, and the minute you get it, run it, because it's probably going to take you a little bit to get some profit, but put as much as you can in the beginning. You're not going to make money off your Amazon business right away. It takes time to grow. It takes time for your listings to get seasoned. Pay as much money as you can toward advertising, but within your reasonable spending budget. Don't overextend yourself, and just start pruning things down over time. It becomes second nature once you get used to it. So Yeah, thanks for joining me today. If you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Good luck with selling on Amazon.